All right, man, let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right, episode 110, Hang with Beat Drop Podcast. How are we feeling? Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're feeling great. It's pretty hot right now. It is, we hitting the triple digits, so hopefully you guys are staying cool. You guys are drinking your aguas, your horchatas, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, it's summertime, so it's active. You know what I mean? Little man's at the crib, so I know all my parents could relate. With your kids being at the house. They want attention and they're energized. All they do is eat, want to play, and ask about crazy stuff. So hopefully, shout out to all my parents out there. I hope you guys are doing great. And I know it was Father's Day last week, so hopefully everyone had a good Father's Day as well. And yeah, man, so one thing I want to talk about today is books. I got some new books over the weekend, and I'm always trying to, well, how can I say? Well, I'm always looking for new books. I'm always interested in new books. I'm always every time I listen to a podcast or I watch an interview, I'm always interested to see the type of books that people are reading. I love books. I think books is an amazing investment that you can make, whether a book is $20, whether it's $30, whatever it is. I think that the ROI in those books is worth more than what you're paying for, because I think that books are super powerful. I'm always interested into seeing how, and another thing too, I think it's great to reread books. I think it was interesting for me, that I read the Four Agreements again, and I got a different perspective compared to the first time I read it. The second time I read it, I'm at a different place in my life that one of the agreements stood out more than the first time I read it a few years back. You feel me? So I always feel like, don't feel like just because you finished reading a book, like you can't revisit that book, because you probably were at a different time in your life where that book didn't hit the same that if you read it now. You get me? So I think the Four Agreements for me was a perfect way for me to be like, wow, when I read it the first time, it was good, don't get me wrong, but when I read it the second time, some stuff really stood out for me, and I love sharing, on social media, the books that I'm reading, and I'm always super excited when people reach out and are like, hey man, what book would you recommend? I just started reading, or hey, I'm trying to get put up on Game on Books. And for me, it's exciting. For me, I know you guys could see, if you guys are watching, you guys can see that I got books up there. I got books under my desk. And I think one thing that I feel like it's not so much of like to read the same books that everybody's reading. I think sometimes it's good to challenge yourself into reading types of books that you wouldn't think you will be reading, because I think it will give you a different mindset too, to have different type of books, different genres, and, just books that make you see life in a different perspective, and I always just like getting familiar with new authors, different people, and it's exciting. It's an exciting journey, because I feel like it just puts more of a creative side to what I want to do. And one thing that I want to talk about, and I've been curious about it, and I feel like I've been thinking about it a lot too. What are you curious about? What are you passionate about? What is something that you always wanted to do? What are things that you are like, man, like, I have this book here, the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And one thing that I read in this book was, what would you be doing if money wasn't an issue? So I want you to put yourself in that position. If, let's just say right now, money wasn't an issue, bills are good, because obviously I know that, we all got to take care of our responsibilities, right? But my question for you is, if that wasn't an issue and you could do whatever you want to do, like, have you ever asked yourself that question? What are you passionate about? I want you to really think about that, because I think that for me, I'm always curious into where, like, you're just in the flow. You don't even notice the time passes because you're so into something. So my question for you is, what are you curious about? Even deeper, like, what was something you wanted to do at some point in your life, but things that you had to take care of didn't allow you to move forward with the things that you were passionate about? Because sometimes I know that, we just go by the motion. We just do things and we tend to lose track of time. And, years go on and you're like, man, I wish I could have done that, or I wish I could have, been, more into the field that I'm doing. So I want to ask you that question, because I feel like it's something good to think about, and I know I'll probably sound repetitive, but when I read that, when I read this book, not only did I think about myself into what are the stuff that I'm curious about, but I'm also thinking about the millions of people and what are they passionate about, and are they doing what they love to do. That was just a thought that I've been pondering on for some time. You could always find yourself in a place where you could enjoy what you're doing. It's interesting because sometimes we could get in our own head. Another book that I'm reading and right now that I just got over the weekend, that's a great book, I'm enjoying it so far, is The 12 Notes on Life and Creativity by Quincy Jones. And there's a quote there that I'm going to start using, and I really enjoyed it. It was mind pollution to mind solution. And it was just, simple, but, yet so good. I feel like sometimes we have so much, clutter in our minds, and we always think about the bad in things, or we could possibly think about what other people are going to say when we do this or do that. Our mind could play tricks on us rather than finding a solution into what we should be doing. That's why I feel like books are so powerful into our lives, or even audiobooks, because I know I've talked to people that they go, hey man, I don't like books, I like audiobooks. And for me, I'm always into whatever works for you. You know what I mean? And it's not a one size fits all. You know what I mean? And for me personally, I've tried audiobooks, but for me, I haven't mastered it yet. It's a little difficult because I noticed that for myself, when I'm listening to an audiobook, I tend to start doing other things, and then I distract myself, and I like to write notes when I'm reading. So, and I get it, right? Like I like listening to podcasts when I'm driving, when I'm doing stuff, when I'm cleaning, whatever. But I noticed that there's a lot of good information that I tend not to write down. So that's just something for me that I had to figure out a way to get the best out of audiobooks. Like I know the audiobook that I listened to was Atomic Habits, and there was a lot of good stuff in there. And sometimes I would like sit down and listen and write notes, but it was just different compared to when I read it, in actual form. So I think that's something that is a great option too. Audiobooks. A lot of people just prefer audiobooks, but for me, it's like whatever it is, whether it's video form, audio form, or books, whatever it is for you to get valuable information. You know what I mean? And I think that's so good. As I was getting the books over the weekend, I was just thinking like, man, some of these books I have, and I'm like, man, a lot of these books are so powerful. The amount of work that it took for each author to make this book, it requires so much time and attention. I was watching the Ryan Holiday podcast with Joe Rogan, and just thinking about when he was even saying how much time it takes for him to put in a book. And it just makes you appreciate the craft and the art, of someone's work, because sometimes you might just see, oh, there's hundreds of books, or hundreds of records, hundreds of a lot, but when you really just take a moment and be like, wow, like a lot of this, there's a lot of work that goes into what the finished product, whether it's 200 pages, 10 pages, whatever, that took a lot of creativity, a lot of power into that. So that makes me even try to really appreciate the art. When I read the book, I really try to set the intention to focus on what I'm reading. So see, hopefully if you see it in a different perspective, you might get interested into reading a couple more books, and you might be surprised on how that could just change the trajectory of your life if you get into these books. So yeah, I really, I advocate, if you haven't read this, the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, you could finish it in one day, one sitting, and you could keep rereading it. Right now, I'm reading this book, The 12 Notes on Life and Creativity. Quincy Jones is just, reading so much of his story, it just makes you want to just jump into your creativity, and I think creativity is something that each person has that's so beautiful, because there's only one of you. And it's amazing to know that each person has their own creativity, whether it's in arts, whether it's in fashion, whether it's in music, whether it's in whatever. Everything takes a sense of creativity, whether it's in parenting, whether it's how you talk to someone, whether it's how you manage, whether it's how you go into the work field. Everything takes a sense of creativity. There's creativity in everything. The way I had to parent, the way sometimes I had to know what type of tone to speak to my son, because if not, he's going to think I'm screaming at him, or he might not, understand the message I'm trying to tell him. The creativity of when you talk to someone, of knowing that, this person, if you speak in this tone, might get offended compared to this person they don't really mind it. There's this creativity in everything you do in life. It's beautiful to see it in that sense, because it's exciting to just go about your day and knowing how you could really hit your creativity at an all-time high. So yeah, man, episode 110. I'm wishing you guys a beautiful day, weekend, just great energy, great vibes. And we're a few months away from 2023. We're already in summer, and time be flying. Time's moving. And I hope that, whether you're in a funk, whether you're figuring yourself out, whether you're in a place where you don't know what to do in your life, I strongly hope that you put yourself in a good place, that you're able to overcome a lot of this adversity that you're facing. And for even people that feel like they're in a good place, I'm so happy for you. I hope that you continue to, keep stacking those wins. And for people that feel like you're not at the place you want to be at, live life with gratitude. See that you have small wins every day in your life and you don't even notice it. Waking up, that's a win. Waking up, brushing your teeth, getting some food, getting a workout in, that's a win. Sometimes we tend to be so hard on ourselves. I know sometimes I could be extremely hard on myself. That's not healthy. So you have to think about, man, there's so many wins that you have in your day to day. You know what I mean? Whether it's you were able to cook yourself a nice meal, that's a win. Whether it was time to spend time with good friends, that's a win. So wishing you guys a beautiful day. Love y'all and appreciate the love and support. Much love, man. Peace.